Hi everyone, good evening. How are you all? I hope all of you are good. Welcome back to the reading practice session. And let's start with today's test. So this is our test for today, and here you have the first question for reading writing blanks on the screen. And I request all of you to time yourself, give yourself just 2.5 minutes to solve this question, and then post your answers in the chat box. When we are having a discussion, please don't use the chat box to write anything at that time. Try to listen to the explanation and try to take notes and try to focus more on, rather than what is the correct answer, focus more on how to start finding the correct answer, how to eliminate the wrong ones. Those things will be more helpful to you when you solve the questions yourself alone, because when you solve alone, then you say that we are not getting the answers because the methods, the steps that you follow are not correct. So try more on understanding those things. So 2.5 minutes for this question only, and then put your answers in the chat box, please. Alright, should be done by now. Please post your answers, those who haven't. Let's have a discussion. Now stop posting your answers. The European Southern Observatory's very large telescope, interferometer, so what we can understand here is some telescope maybe, has observed a cloud of cosmic dust at the center of the galaxy that is hiding a supermassive black hole. The findings dash predictions made around 30 years ago. The findings is plural, that's first thing to notice. If we look at the options, we have are, have, had, and is. The first thing we have to eliminate is because findings is plural and is used with singular noun. Then the findings dash predictions. If we look at the options again, are plus ed is passive voice and have plus ed is active voice. So those who have clarified their concepts of active and passive would be easily able to eliminate this question. The findings dash predictions. Both the words are confirmed. So findings have confirmed the predictions or somebody else has confirmed. If somebody else has confirmed, the answer would be the findings are confirmed by scientists or the findings are confirmed by researchers, but there is no by here. The findings are confirming the thing. So the subject is doing the work. That means this is an active statement, not a passive one. So that is why are confirmed will be eliminated. Now, out of have confirmed and had been. Had been is again passive and had been is used when something was continuously happening for a period of time. And again, been is a passive statement. Whatever sentence has BEE and been, it's a passive statement. So now we are left with only one option, have confirmed. So we'll try to today highlight all the concepts based on which the blanks come in the exam. Like in this two concepts have already been discussed just in one blank. The concept of active passive and the concept of singular plural. So you can keep noting down the concepts and then you will realize that how many blanks are actually just based on clarifying the concept, not really on understanding the passage. So the findings have confirmed predictions made around 30 years ago and are giving astronomers new dash into active galactic nuclei. So into is a preposition. Which option goes with prepositions? They are giving astronomers new analysis, new judgment, new insight, or new observation. So insight and into is a collocation. Insight into means giving lot of deep details about something is called insight. Means internal and very important and specific knowledge about something is called insight about something. So these findings are giving a lot of information into the galactic nuclei. So a lot of information would be is giving deep insight. So only insight can also be fine. Insight into galactic nuclei, some of the dash and most enigmatic objects in the universe. So with the comes third form of verb, V3. They have also used most enigmatic. So most itself is third form of verb. That means here also we need third form of verb. So when we look at the options, brightest, sparkling, intense, glowing. So EST ending with EST is third form of verb. So we'll go with the brightest and the most enigmatic objects in the universe. Active galactic nuclei are energetic sources powered by supermassive black holes and found at the center of some galaxies. The sentence was absolutely complete. Energetic are energetic sources means energetic is a verb here, adjective here basically. So we'll look for adverb, ly option because the sentence otherwise is complete. So what can we say? Nuclei are greatly energetic or nuclei are extremely energetic. Greatly energetic, greatly is like when you want to say greatly recognized, means very much. But with energetic, it's better to say extremely energetic because extreme means very powerful, very energetic. But great in the size of comes in terms of size, that it's big or small. That's how we use the word great. But extreme will more go with power. So here both of them, none of them is grammatically wrong. Both of them are grammatically right. But if we think of a better combination with energetic, so we'll say this person is extremely energetic. We won't say that this person is greatly energetic. So greatly is not an adverb to define energy or power. So all the words that end with ly are adverbs. These black holes feed on large volumes of cosmic dust and gas. Before it is eaten up, this material spirals towards the black hole and huge amounts of energy are released in the process, often dash all the stars in the galaxy. So when the sentence is complete, one sentence completes and they don't put a full stop, rather they put a comma, and after that they give a blank in which most probably we need a verb, then ing form of verb comes there. Now when we look at the options, all the forms are ing, so we have to go with the context that means. So they say a lot of energy, huge amounts of energy are released, often dash all the stars in the galaxy. So which words we can talk about stars? Outstanding. Outstanding means very good. Like we say, outstanding performance, brilliant performance. Outshining, very brightly shining is outshining. Exceeding is used with quantity, exceeding the number. And leaving all the stars, we cannot leave stars in the sky. So our answer will be outshining because it matches with the context. They were talking about shining of the stars, and that's what matches with a lot of energy, means bright shining of the stars. So these are the answers. The first one was based on active passive. So active voice is have, had been is passive, are plus ed is passive, and is cannot come because findings is plural. Insight and into comes when they are a collocation. Insight into, they always come when you want to say get a lot of information about something. Third, V3, brightest is the only third form of verb that we have, so there was no choice. Dash energy, out of great energy and extreme energy, we'll go with extremely energetic rather than greatly energetic. Makes more sense with extremely. And the last one, because we are talking about stars, so if one star has a lot of energy, it will shine brighter than the other one. So outshining means brightly shining than others. So having more shine than others is to outshine others. Right? So these are the answers. If you have any doubts and if anything is out of the doubts that we have not discussed, we will pick that up. All the words that end with ly are adverbs, but apart from those, there are other adverbs also, like often, 𝗙𝗿𝗀2, 𝗙𝗿𝗶𝗹, already, almost. These are also adverbs. Sometimes, very good, Parita. Third form of verb is ed diksha. Right? So if you want to have just a repetition of blank 1, blank 2, blank 3, that you can get after the class when it will be uploaded at the portal, because we won't be able to repeat everything. We have to complete the test as well. So if anything new that we haven't talked about, then you can put them in the chat box. Brightest, how V3? All the words with EST are V3. Okay, so we have question number 3. Question number 3. Sorry, I had to do question number. This is your second question for today, and you have 2.5 minutes for this. Please post your answers in the chat box, and then we have a discussion. Okay, should be done by now. Let's look at the answers. So they say electronic game, also called computer game or video game, any interactive game dashed by computer circuitry. So when you have by, it's always passive voice. So we need ed form of verb, handled by computer circuitry or operated. So video games are operated by computer, means they are run by computer. So everybody is right in selecting this answer. Very good. Operated by computer. The machines on which electronic games are played include general purpose shared and personal computers, arcade consoles, video consoles, dash to home television sets. So with the word to, what goes with to? Driven to, connected, associated, or linking. Connected to, because everybody must have done this. So we used to connect the console of the video game to the computer through a wire. So that is a connecting to or connected to. Associated comes with the word associated with, and driven comes with driven by. So it will be connected to home television sets, handheld machines, and this and that. The term video game can be used to represent the totality of these formats, or it can refer more dash only to games played on devices with video displays. So this was simply a context-based answer. They said either we can use the term video game for all these things, totality means in total to all these formats, or it can refer more dash only to the games which had video displays. So which can refer more specifically, definitely, exact, or in detail. So when we are out of the group, we are picking one thing, then that is our specification. So that is specifically means particularly only to these games we can call them video games. So definitely is surety, exact is right, same to same thing, that is exact, or exactly right thing is what we use the word exact for. And in detail is when we elaborate something. So here we were not elaborating, we were taking up one item from the whole group, that is giving the specification that this is what we want to say, particularly in the sense. The idea of playing games on computer is as old as the computer itself. So a complete sentence, we need an adverb here, is already as old. So already comes with respect to time. When we want to say that the work is already done, the work that we are now talking about is already finished. That is how we use the word already. Around is used with times, again, around 400 BC, around 1994. That is how we use the word around. Almost, when you want to say both of the things are at the same time, then we use the word almost, which can come here. The idea of playing games on computers is almost, means this idea is as old as the computer itself. So we cannot say the idea is much old. Much old will mean that we are going to go a bit negative about the context, that it is very old. But we want to say that the computer and the idea of playing games on the computer, almost they run from the same time period. For example, the mathematician and engineer Claude Shannon dash in 1950. So something happened in 1950 should be past tense. We have two past options. That computers could be programmed. So could means possibility. That means he must have suggested this thing or proposed this thing, because preferred has nothing to do with possibility. So he has suggested or he proposed that maybe we can do this at that point of time. So now we are using could in that case. He suggested or he proposed this possibility. So these are the answers. An easy question because of an easy topic, a relatable topic. So computer video games are operated by computer and they are connected to the television sets. And more specifically, out of the group, all the video games, we only want to talk about those which have video displays. And almost the idea is same time. And he proposed in 1950 that maybe we could do this. Could means possibility. He showed this possibility. Right? Any questions? Well done. All good with this? So we have the question number 4, then 3 on the screen. And you have 2.5 minutes to solve this. Please post your answers once you are done, and then we have a discussion. All right, should be done. Very good. Good attempt. So they say, so what danger does genetics dash? So with the word danger, with the word threat, with the word risk, what is the best verb that we use? Pose is the right verb. Pose means similar, present basically, but because we use present in a positive way and for positive things like presentation, so there's a separate word to be used in a bit negative context, that what danger does this particular term genetics present in front of us. So that is why we use danger, threat, and risk with the verb pose. Pose basically means present only, as I said, but for a bit negative context, they have made a separate word. Because genetics or danger or threat or risk, maybe they cannot create anything. Create word is specifically used when we have something physical, like we create a toy or we create something like a software. That is how we use the word create. Form is more used with scientific language, that we form any definition or we form anything which is abstract kind of. And exist is generally used, that this problem exists there, means it is already there, then we use the word exist. So here it will be, what danger does genetics pose? Gene therapy, including genes to cure a genetic disease like cystic fibrosis, dash risks. So basically, if we don't read this comma to comma part, the sentence will become a bit easier. Gene therapy dash risks. So therapy, we are talking about one therapy. Therapy is singular, so we need a verb with S. So we can simply eliminate bring first of all. Now a therapy can convey risk, take risk, or carries risk. So the therapy has risk in itself. That is why it will be gene therapy carries risk. It cannot take it from someone or something, and it cannot convey. Convey is to communicate kind of thing. Therapy cannot convey anything to anybody. So the therapy has risk, has can be, carries risks. As do all new medical treatments, there may well be problems with the testing of new treatments, but are these difficulties any dash from those related to trying out new drugs for AIDS? Now, this was to an extent based on context answer, but the things that we could have eliminated, are these difficulties any differs? Because difficulties is already plural, so we cannot put the verb also plural. That's how differs cannot be the answer. Can we say, are these difficulties any difficult? But we already said they are difficulties, so we cannot say they are not difficult. So difficult cannot be the answer. Now the question was between different and separate. So separate is what we use, that we can disjoin two things. We can make two things apart from each other. We can separate them. But here they were saying that testing of this particular therapy, it has lots of risks associated. But they said the same risks are associated with other drugs also when we try out other drugs. So what is the difference between both of them? That is why the answer would be, but are these difficulties any different from those related to trying out new drugs for AIDS? They said both the risks are same, both the difficulties are same. What is the difference in both of the things? Anxieties about creating designer babies are at present premature as it is too risky, and we may have to accept what has been called procreative autonomy, a couple's right to control their own role in reproduction, unless the state has a compelling reason for denying them that control. So should the issues relating to the applications of genetics lead to stopping research in this field? So what kind of issues are they talking about? Should the right issues or wrong issues, legal or illegal, ethical or unethical, or accepted or unaccepted? So they were here talking about, if they would have been talking about legal issues, they would be talking about the language of court or maybe law particularly. But here they were not talking about any legal problems. They were talking about ethical, whether it is morally correct to do this or not. The next sentence, they said the individual scientist cannot decide. For science like genetics is a collective activity. So there is no law person deciding. There is a scientist, individual scientist who has to take this decision or who cannot take this decision. And also in the last sentence, they use the word, it is ethically unacceptable. So that means the context was ethical, the context was not legal. So they said it is ethically unacceptable and dash to censor any aspect of trying to understand the nature of our world. This word is negative, so this word in the blank also has to be negative. So possible, impractical, incapable, and sensible. Possible and sensible are positive things. Impractical and incapable. Incapable means not being able to do something. So human beings can be incapable of doing something. But here we are just talking about that what is not right or what is unacceptable or what is impractical, means practically not possible that we can stop somebody to understand the nature of the world. If somebody is doing any research to understand the world better, we cannot stop that person. It is practically impossible. So that is why the answer would be it is unacceptable, it is impractical, means both the ways we cannot do it. These are the answers. The first of all, with danger, threat, and risk always comes the verb pose. The second, this particular therapy, it carries some risk. Basically, it means it has some risks in it. Any of these difficulties are different from the other difficulties was the question. And then they explained what difficulties or what is the situation. And then we said that ethical because of the context, they were judging on ethical basis. And the last, we needed a negative word because the first word before and was negative. So we should also go with negative word. That is why unacceptable and impractical means not possible in any way. So these are the answers. Any questions, anybody? I hope you all are more concerned that where and why are you losing that 1 mark rather than just the right answer. You should be knowing that what you thought wrong. Okay. So here we have the next question, number 4 for today on the screen. This normally happens. We overlook a lot of things and we also, assume a lot of things. The words which are not there, sometimes we assume them, and sometimes the words which are there, we don't look at them. So yes, you will have to read quickly in the exam, but at the same time, you have to read very carefully. You're reading only one time the sentence, but please don't neglect any word, and please don't try to use this shortcut of reading half sentence. You have to read the full sentence till full stop and only then start performing your elimination and selections. Otherwise, you'll miss something in the exam, and every single mark counts. Okay, so 2.5 minutes, question number 4, and then put your answers. Okay, we should be completing by now. Should is used for suggestion sankalp. Here, the sentence is not a suggestional sentence. The dream of human flight dash have begun with observation of birds soaring dash the sky. So the dream of human flight, understandable sentence that the humans dreamt of flying. Where did they get this idea from? They got this idea from birds in the sky. The dream of human flight must have begun, because that's the only sensible reason we can relate it to. How do human beings thought of flying? Just by looking at some other things flying, that they got this idea that why cannot we fly? So it must have come from there is what they wanted to say. Can have is wrong English. You can say could have. Can have is wrong English. Will have means it is going to happen in the future, which is not possible. We are relating it to past, that where did we get the idea in the past. Have begun. So should is for suggestions. There is no suggestion happening here. So we'll say it must have come from there. And what is that thing? Observation of birds soaring dash the sky. The normal sense we will think birds in the sky, but we don't have in the options. On the sky doesn't make sense. Sky is not a platform that they are flying on. Against, along. So along means with the sky, but they don't fly with the sky. It's better to say through the sky. Through means sky is the place. The sky is their area through which they fly. Through means that is their medium of flying. So sky is the medium through which or in which they fly. For millennia, however, progress was retarded by attempts to design aircraft that emulated the beating of a bird's wings. The generations of experimenters and dreamers who dashed their attention on ornithopters. Okay. Experimenters and dreamers who dashed their attention. So what verb we use with attention? Who grasped, focused, gave, or settled. So with attention, we give our attention. In general language, we say give your attention. But give in other word, in specifically the word give is actually giving something. That's not for abstract thing like attention. But yes, we can say focused their attention. Focus means they put their attention on this thing. Grasped is to take, not to give. So grasp cannot come here. And gave, as I said, is a very general word. It's a very verbal language word, to give something. And settled their attention on. So there is nothing about settling here. So we'll say focused their attention on ornithopters, machines in which flapping wings generated both lift and propulsion. Contributed nothing substantial to the final solution of this. Dash with a comma. The story of the invention of the airplane begins in the 16th, 17th, and 18th centuries. So although does not come with a comma, so eliminated. Whereas comes with when we are going opposite. But here we are not going opposite. There's a new paragraph starting. So whereas cannot be the answer. Thereby or thus. Thus is when you conclude your story, and here is what the conclusion is happening of the story. Because the story was trying to make an aircraft, and finally, thus the story of invention of the airplane begins in the 16th, 17th, and 18th centuries with the first serious dash into aerodynamics. First serious research, consequent study, or work. Consequence is result, negative result is called consequence. First serious study or work, we won't say first serious work into, because there is no serious and non-serious work, and not serious study or non-serious study. But yes, first serious research makes sense, because research is something on research is on something which we don't have. Like research is to find something new, whereas study is to study something which you already have. So that is the difference between research and study. So we did not have the aircraft. That is why it is a research into aerodynamics and how can we actually make something that can fly. So they were researching different options. The difference between thereby and thus, thereby means kind of as a result. But thus means when you are concluding that, okay, whatever we said, at the end, the result not as a result. Does means when you're winding up the whole topic is you use does, and as a result is because of the previous thing the next thing happened. That is how we use thereby. Right, so these are the answers. The first is must have, because that is the only possible relation that we can have with flying. So must have come from birds soaring in the sky, but we don't have in, so we can go with through the sky, means sky is their medium at that point of time. And dreamers who gave their attention is fine to say verbally, but in written language we cannot actually give our attention. It's not a thing, so we'll say focused our attention on something. And then thus, because we are concluding that whatever people were trying, thus the final thing what happened was invention of airplane begins in the 16th, 17th and 18th centuries with the first serious research into aerodynamics. Research because it was something new that we wanted to find out. So thereby is more related with as a result of the previous thing, and thus is overall winding up and concluding up. So through here can be understood as via in this context. Grasp is to take something, like you grasp knowledge, you take it, not give it. Through with environment, that really depends that in what context they are using it. Like here I said it is more of like sky is their platform, sky is their medium. They're using sky as a medium of movement of birds. If it is being used as a medium, then we can use through. Neha, it really depends. You can read the sentence without the blank, but it's not always required. But you can try doing that if it helps you to understand better. Okay, the last question for reading writing blanks for today, number 5, and you have 2.5 minutes for this. Please post your answers once you are done, and we will discuss. Are we done? Easy one, easy question this was, and you have done well. As a former British colony, Australia has close cultural and historical dash with the United Kingdom. So cultural and historical means two different types. So the answer has to be plural. When we look at the options, only one plural option is there. So we don't have to look at BCD. The answer is historical and cultural links with the United Kingdom. Due to the British and Irish settlers who arrived in droves in the 19th and 20th centuries, one dash of this contact is the role of Britain. So one means this has to be singular, so we can eliminate features and characteristics. One form means type. Form is type of something. And aspect means like feature of something or one side of something. Now we can simply see if the sentence is talking about a feature or a sentence is talking about a type of something. One dash of this contact is the role of Britain. Role of Britain is not any type. We can say one feature, one aspect is the role of Britain. And British archaeologists and collectors in taking Aboriginal bones, relics, and artifacts from Australia to museums and collections in the UK. Now, leaders of the indigenous people of Australia, the Aborigines, dash that any Aboriginal remains in the UK are returned to Australia. So now means we are in present tense at the moment that we are talking. So now leaders of the indigenous people dash that. So leaders is plural. The word written before of is the noun. So leaders is the noun. Maybe they would have given us options like is and has. So this singular plural will help you to get the answer in that case. And with now we can say have demand is wrong English because we know with have comes third form of verb. So have should be with demanded. Now they are demanding is fine. They are going to demand. How do we know that they are going to demand or they are not going to demand? Going to means in the future. So we'll go with present tense. Now they are demanding that whatever remains are in the UK, they are returned to Australia. In the 19th century Britain, there was a mania for collecting all kinds of objects from other countries. These were sent home, dash, they were kept in museums. So home, when, whom, which, where. So home is a place, and for place we use where. Which is used for a thing, whom is used for a human being, and when is used for time, and where is used for place. So home is a place. And in the end, they said museums in the UK have a huge number of such objects. Objects which were basically stolen during Britain's long colonial history with little or no regard for the feelings or rights of the people to whom the objects originally dashed. So understandable, to whom the objects belonged. And all of you have done this right. So agreed is to saying yes to something, that is agree. Owned is if the answer would have been owned, there is no use of the word to here. So you could have said without having the regard for the feelings or rights of the people who owned these objects. So that is a sentence formation. Possessed is also to have something, is to have possession of something. So these objects belonged to those people. These are the answers. First, because cultural and historical are two things, so it will be plural. One comes with singular, so whatever is written after the blank is not a type of something, so that's why it is a feature. Now comes with present tense, so that is why we'll say now they are demanding. Are going to means it's future. Home is a place, so we'll go with where, and without concerning the feelings and rights of the people to whom these objects belonged. So these are all the questions that we had to do for reading writing blanks today. I hope you would have made notes. Okay. Which is used for reference for things. Like this is the college which I was talking about. So you refer to something saying the word which. And for places we use where. So first question for reorders on the screen. You know, it is not important to have two written next to belong, Neha. You already have the two written in the sentence. So it's not that it should be next to, it can be anywhere in the sentence, because the sentence formation can be a bit academic, higher academic level, in which they don't really write the word in a simple form. Two was already there in the sentence. Okay, so the first question for reorders and 5 sentences, 2 minutes only, and then post your answers, please. Okay, should be done. And I'm not very happy with the answers that I am seeing, though this was an easy question. The first sentence is E, because that has your topic. Tourism has become one of Australia's largest industries. So one of means you are talking about other industries also, and you are comparing tourism with that. That is the meaning of one of the industries, means all the top industries. And the explanation of this was given in sentence A. So I've told you a number of times that the first and the second sentence, they talk about the same topic. Whatever you say in sentence 1 or whatever you introduce in sentence 1 is further explained in sentence 2. So in the first sentence, we said that tourism has become one of Australia's largest industries. So we should talk about what are the largest industries that Australia has and what position does tourism has in those industries. So all of these things were given in sentence A. The combined tourism industry now accounts for about 5% of the GDP, compared with agriculture at 4.3% and manufacturing at 8%. So they were talking about all the top 3 industries, and tourism has become a part of the largest industries. So please make a rule. first sentence and second sentence. Second will be the explanation of first. So look from that perspective. And then you can see for example written. That means there is an example rule applying. So you have to find out what does this example belong to. The third sentence for D was D because it is kind of concluding. Tourism is therefore an important earner for both companies and individuals in a wide range of industries. Wide range of industries means all the industries. And then you give examples of those industries one by one. So first you say wide range of industries, which is the broadest one. Then you start giving examples. For example, transport industry. So it's one industry out of all the industries. Benefits from the extra money poured into it. Then which else industry? Hotels spring up in resort areas to provide accommodation, and catering industry gains as tourists spend money in restaurants. So try to understand the writing style. For example, starts the example. So you should first look at, okay, the example is of industry. So example rule says that the explanation should come first and then only example can come. So first you should find out a sentence which is explanatory sentence for industries as general, and then you can highlight 1, 2, and 3 industries as examples. Right? So this was the answer. I hope it is clear now. And here you have question number 2. Think properly and then put your answer. 2 minutes for this. Okay, guys, please do the third question as well, and then we'll discuss the second one. I feel there should be a hint given. So let me check, and by the time you can do this one as well. Done with the third one. Third was still fine. First sentence was B because this is where you have the topic. Unlike in many Western countries where companies employ people whose skills can be effective immediately, Japanese companies select applicants with potential who can be trained to become suitable employees. So this was the starting where they were making a comparison between how in Western countries they employ people and how in Japanese companies they employ people. So, and we have a direct relationship given in sentence A. It says, for this reason. This means this previously mentioned. Recruiting employees is an important exercise for companies as they invest a lot of time and money in training new staffs. So there are lots of factors that they consider. So that is why it's an important exercise for companies. And here is C is the sentence where we are introducing professionals. So we say this is basically true both for factory workers and for professionals. This is where we are introducing professionals, and then we explain. Professionals who have studied subjects which are of immediate use in the workplace, such as industrial engineers, are very often placed in factories and transferred from one section to another. This is, we are talking ahead about professionals, only professionals. So this is a sentence which talks generally about all the employees or maybe both types of employees, and one sentence which only and only talks about one of the employees out of this. So that will come later on. This was the topic B. For this reason means because we have to train the employees to become suitable. That is why it is an important exercise, because of a lot of money and time is invested in training. This is where we put the topic trained, and a lot of money is spent into training. And then you say this is true for both the employees, and then you just talk about one. So basically, um, the the overall structure that we always say, the broader sentence should come first and the specific should come second. If you are talking about workers and professionals and one sentence is only talking about professionals, so which becomes broader. The sentence which talks about more and more people is broader. A sentence which talks about only one out of them is narrower. So that is broader to narrow concept being applied. For A, C, so you get 1 mark for A and C. That's it. For putting AC together, because D, B is not together. B, A, Yeah, you get 1 mark for BA and 1 mark for AC. The 2 marks B for your answer as BBAC. Right, and I'm still looking for the previous question, so we'll discuss it at the end if I find it out. So we start with the first question for reading, and you have 2 minutes for this, and then post your answers, please, and we have a discussion. All right, should be done. So let's see the answers. This says, in the latter dash of his career, Davis broke out of exclusive jazz settings and began to diversify his output. So in the latter means former is the first ones, latter means the last ones. So we can say years, but we don't have years here. So we can say decades of his career because we basically want to say the other second half of his career. So we can say latter decades of his career. Davis broke out of exclusive jazz settings and began to diversify his output dash a range of musical styles. So diversification means when you want to add a lot of new things or you have different things basically. So earlier maybe, just for an example, maybe he was just into jazz and now he wants to try hip hop, jazz, classical, western, all these things. So that is diversifying. And we diversify across. Across means a different number of options. To go beyond a limited area is to go across, means a wide perspective. Taking a wide perspective is called across. So we say diversify with across, and you specifically they have written a range of musical styles. That means to include all of them or different types of them. That is across. In the 1960s, he was influenced by early funk performers such as Sly and Family Stone, which then expanded into the jazz rock fusion genre. Of Dash, he was a front runner. So they are talking about expanded into the jazz rock fusion genre, means this particular style of Dash, he was a front runner. So of means of this genre. So can be of which, obviously, because it's a thing, it's a kind of a band. Whom is used for human beings. So whom cannot come. Of this fusion, he was a front runner in the 1970s. Electronic recording effects and electric instruments were dashed into his hand. So were kept, we cannot keep instruments, so rather we'll say incorporated, because incorporated goes with into, kept goes with in, and joined goes with, joined with something. So these instruments were incorporated into his sound. So incorporate is to include into something, that is called incorporate. By the 1980s, Davis dashed the boundaries further, covering pop anthems such as this and that. So they have used ing form of verb. We should also try the same. So we have Davis was pushing the boundaries further, covering pop anthems such as this and that. So these are the answers. First is later years, that is decades. Second is across. Across is not only used for place either. It can be used for when you want to give options, when you want to show range. Then also we use the word across. Means simply across means not limited to one area. That is diversify across different options. And then third is of which, because it's a fusion. So he was a front runner of that fusion. And all the instruments were incorporated, means included in that sound. And he was pushing, because they have used ing, so we can also follow the same. Right? Any other questions, anyone? So we have question number 2 on the screen, and 2 minutes for this as well, and then post your answers, please. should be done by now. Who are these students who are saying economically the greatest producers of waste? Can we economically produce great waste? Economically is a positive word. Doing something within budget is economically. Okay, anyhow, in industry, the mining, agriculture, and construction sectors are the biggest culprits, being dash the greatest producers of waste. So being among means these are one of the greatest producers of waste. Among means out of. Also, household waste has grown at a rate of 3% a year as a dash of society becoming more affluent. So with a comes a noun. Let's look at the option, and we have only two nouns, waste and consequence. So waste cannot be coming here as a waste of society. No, as a consequence means as a result of. Because people have become more affluent means more rich, more wealthy. So they are consuming more goods, resulting in more rubbish to dash. So more rubbish to discard. Discard means get rid of. If you don't know the exact meaning, you can write it down. Discard means get rid of something. Then they say as this waste is dash and environmentally costly. So if one word is with ly, the other one should also be with ly. So this you could have even done without understanding. Economically and environmentally costly to deal with, local authorities have been required to ensure that the arrangements made to dispose of the surplus detritus are efficient and practicable, considering social as well as economic implications. For many years, the option for refuse disposal in Britain has been the landfill. So the sentence is complete. Option is a noun. That means what kind of option is what we have to find out is an adjective. What kind of option? We have two things actually to fit here, only option or preferred option. Only option seems a bit impractical because there are lots of options to refuse the disposed waste. So it's better to go the preferred option in Britain has been the landfill. Means they prefer this method, though obviously other methods are everywhere in the world. So we cannot say in Britain there is only method. So we'll go with preferred method using, because option is a noun and we need an adjective. What kind of option? The preferred option is landfill. So these are the answers. The first one is among the producers, means out of all the producers, these are the biggest ones. As a consequence of is a collocation also, and it makes sense with the sentence also. We have more rubbish to discard, means to throw basically. And as this waste is economically and environmentally matching the writing style. And the last the sentence was complete, and after the blank we have a noun. Whenever there is a noun after the blank, you find adjective if the sentence is complete. That means kind of noun. So kind of option is preferred option. Only option is also right, but that doesn't make sense. All good with this one? Why cannot be inexpensive? Because I don't know it is expensive or inexpensive. So that is why, because they haven't talked about money perspective anywhere. So that is why. So you don't assume your context. If you assume, you're overthinking that they want to say it is not costly. They have said it is costly and costly and costly everywhere. That's the preferred method is better. Okay, and question number 3 is on the screen, and you have 2 minutes for this. Please post your answers once you are done. All right, enough time for this. Professor Mike Press said that in order for CCTV to have any effect, it dash be used in a targeted way. So there's no choice. If we want CCTV to work perfectly, we have to use it in the right way. So we'll say it must be used in a targeted way. For example, a scheme in Manchester records every license plate at the entrance of a shopping complex and alerts police when one is found to dash to an untaxed or stolen car. So with to comes first form of verb. What is the context going on? They are recording every license plate at the entrance of the shopping center. And if that plate is found to dash to an untaxed or stolen car, so if that place is found to belong to a stolen car, or if it belongs to an untaxed car, that whatever system they have, that system alerts police. Why am I seeing a lot of you writing possess here? Is found to possess to, and possess is to have the possession of something with you. That is, to possess means to have. To belong to a stolen car, this is an effective example of monitoring. He said most schemes that simply record city centers continually do not produce results. CCTV can also have the dash effect of that intended. So can also have the effect of that intended. What kind of effect? So it can have the opposite effect. When you read the sentence, you realize that they want to say that it can have the opposite effect. That means negative effect. By giving citizens a false sense of security. False sense of security is a negative thing. That's why we say it can prove negative also. By giving a false sense of security and dash them to be careless. They used ing form of verb. By giving this and dash them. So we will also go with ing form of verb, and encouraging them to be careless with property and personal safety. All the evidence suggests that CCTV alone makes no positive impact on crime reduction and dash at all. So they have used TION. Let us first look at TION if we have. And yes, we do have prevention, but also check if prevention fits or not. Here it is fitting, but sometimes the word that they give like this ing and ing, TION and TION, they don't fit contextually. So in that sense, please don't make it a rule of thumb. Always check the context also. So it has no positive impact on crime reduction or crime prevention at all. So crime reduction and crime prevention make sense. So we should not go with stoppage, guys. What is crime stoppage? Crime prevention, crime reduction makes more academic English. So these are the answers. The first one is it must be used in the right way. Second, they record the number plate of the car and they tell the police if that number belongs to a stolen car. So third one can also have the opposite negative effect, that citizens can have false sense of security, and having the looking at the CCTV camera, we may become encouraged to be a bit careless. Okay, camera is there, so no problem. So we might not check our belongings properly. And last, we have to, this makes no positive impact on crime reduction or crime prevention at all. So all clear with everyone with this question? Fourth question, the second last one for today. Why not asking in fourth blank? Let's put asking in 1, 2, 3, 4. Asking them. So who is asking? CCTV is asking them to be careless. Does it make sense, Bari? Does CCTV talk with you? Do you have a conversation with CCTVs? So Ritu, possess is not same as belong. It might be given as a synonym of possess in the Google, but the context that they are used is different. For example, you can say this car belonged to Ritu. Ritu possesses this car is the same meaning. Means Ritu have this car. But it cannot come with if I want to say this car possesses to Ritu. That is wrong. Understood the difference? So possess and belong both mean it is of that person, but the writing style is not the same. Could means possibility only, Suman, and here the sentence is not about possibility. If you want to use it as CCTV properly, if you want to get the right footage, you have to install it properly. There's not a choice that you can install it properly. You have to use it in the right way. Right, so this is question number 4 on the screen, and 2 minutes for this, and then post your answers. Very well done. So let's look at the answers. Dash the scientific revolution of the 18th century. So what we have in capitals is during, while, perhaps, and within. So with time periods, we use the word during. During the 17th century, scientists were largely men of private means who dashed their interest in natural philosophy. So 17th century means we are in past tense, so we need a verb in past tense, which we have is pursued or followed. Both of the words mean the same, but pursued is a better way of saying the word followed. Follow also means to go behind someone or something that is also following. So pursued is more academically strong, which only is used in terms of following the studies or pursuing your career or literature. That is how we use the word pursued. So we'll go with who pursued their interest in natural philosophy for their own edification. Only in the past century or two has it become possible to make a living investigating the workings of nature. So to make a living from, because from comes when you have a source written after, and we are making a living from this work. So this is the source of our income. So whenever you have a source written, you always use from in that case. Modern science was built on the work of amateurs. Today, science is an increasingly specialized and compartmentalized subject. The domain of experts know more and more about less and less. So experts means human beings. That is why we will say who. So people who know more and more about less and less. However, so when we have a conjunction connector between two commas, we can read it in the beginning of the sentence. However, surprisingly, amateurs are still important. So connector is already there. What we have in capitals is while, perhaps, or within. While is a connector, but however is already used, so we cannot use this. Perhaps and within, surprisingly, is not a limit, whereas within comes with a limit. So what are we left with is perhaps. Perhaps is just means like maybe. So however, perhaps surprisingly, it's an adverb and it can be understood as maybe. Amateurs are still important. Right, so these are the answers. Any problem, anybody? Good attempt from almost all of you. Thank you. And we have the last question for today. Perhaps is an adverb, yes. So the last question, 2 minutes for this, and then post your answers, please. Okay, should be done. Read the complete sentences. Universities have different locations. The older universities often have teaching facilities and student accommodation dash close together. Some of you have written placed. The meaning of placed is kept. Can you keep accommodation and facilities together? Is it a thing that we can keep? These are places. Student accommodation means hostel, and teaching facilities means the classrooms, the teaching area. These are locations. The locations are situated together. We cannot keep them. Placed is kept. Students in these usually socialize in a particular part of the city, and there is a strong sense of community, dash being in a large city. There are two opposite things. Large city, but still we have strong sense of community. So we need a connector that shows contrast, which is despite, because however cannot come without commas. So we'll say despite being in a large city, still there is a strong sense of community there. Some city campuses are situated on the outskirts of the city. These very often have the space to provide sports facilities and accommodation. They are also close enough to the city for students to enjoy city life. Some universities dash Oxford and Cambridge. So we're giving examples. We have for example or like or such as, but we don't have them. What else can be an example? Notably can also be used as an example. Notably means when you want to highlight a names of few things, then you can say notably. Some universities, notably Oxford and Cambridge, have a collegiate structure, that is, students are members of colleges within the university. These colleges are the dash of social life and academic life. So these colleges are the something that matches with college. We can say they are the center. Academic staff dash live at the college, and students and staff enjoy easy relationships. So this is a complete sentence. Academic staff live at the college. So live is a verb. We should look for adverb here. So what we have in adverb is usually or extremely. We cannot say extremely live. We can say usually they live in the college. So it's easy to have connections. So most of you did it right, but you have messed up despite here and there, some of you. I hope it's clear now. So despite is basically when we say even though the city is very large, but still people are close to each other. They're closely connected to each other. That is how we use the word despite and even though. So the first answer is situated, because we were talking about two places. We cannot keep places. Places can be situated with each other or close or far from each other. Then despite, because of the sentence structure, one positive and one negative side. Some universities like Oxford and Cambridge, we don't have like, we don't have such as, we don't have for example. So we can say notably. That is also used to convey examples. And these colleges are the center of social life and academic life. So center of basically means this is the place. This area is more for social life and academic life. They are the center of social life and academic life. And academic staff usually live at the college because it makes sense. Right? Are the regions of, no. Region is when we want to say the area of. Region is particularly used in geography terms. Here we are not wanting to say anything about area in terms of geography. We want to say what is their importance, what is their significance. So in that sense, we have used center here. Okay. Okay, so these were all the questions that we had to do today, and I hope this would have been helpful to you and you would have made notes. Very important. Can say close together, not a very like collocation kind of thing, but something like that. So I'll check the reorder that we did not discuss. I'm yet to find it out. So we'll discuss it in the next class tomorrow. We have a class at the same time, 6:30 p.m. according to Sydney time. So please do come back. Please do keep practicing by that time and attend more and more classes and make more and more notes and try to apply those things. More importantly, learn how to apply those things. Okay. So that's all for today's class. Bye bye, take care, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.